Hi everyone! I am Madelaine and the owner of Sparkle Lifestyle and MediSpa, and today I'm with Tim. Tim is actually my boss from Moncton NB because some people know I'm a clinical trainer with them part-time. I do that. I love traveling and I love learning, so I jumped in the opportunity when you did ask me. So I just wanted to introduce yourself a little bit, what you do.
Yeah, sure. I am the regional clinical manager in Canada. And I also look after the U.S. So as Madelaine said, we go in and train accounts ranging from world-renowned plastic surgeons, dermatologists, into nurse practitioners, RNs, all the way into medical estheticians. So I've been with Moncton NB for just over 5 years, and I train on 17 different devices.
That's crazy. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
I train on what, 5, 6?
You train on 6?
6?
More to come though. It's getting busier, so more to come. Awesome. Look forward to that. Of course, Madelaine is running around and doing a whole bunch of trainings for me also, which I think is amazing. She's doing a great job.
Thank you. I love learning, so that's why I wanted him.
He's very smart.
I wanted him today to do a series of video because I thought he had tons of good information. He's been in the field forever, and he knows all the in and out of any equipment, and strong knowledge and fancy words.
Fancy words, sort of. I can say them, I can't spell them.
Yeah, see, I can spell them.
You can spell them.
I can spell
We're a good team.
I can spell shit, but I can't pronounce. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about the condition of facial hair. Okay, I have tons of clients that's coming. If you have facial hair, you're not alone. I need to say that. I feel like my client comes, they feel a little bit embarrassed to even show it to me because they feel really self-conscious. They don't want people to look at them really closely because they have hair. And I feel like we actually feel kind of alone in that. But I just want to start saying that I swear you're not alone with it.
No.
Every woman have at some level some hair. It's just for some people it's a little bit more. But it's totally normal.
Yeah.
It's aging, hormonal.
That's the big one right there. Can be hormonal.
So, but that's one treatment that we can help with many things, but that's the one that we're actually amazing at.
Yes.
I think we have tons of experience with it. We have amazing results, and we are using a Gentle Max Pro as a device, and I can't say enough about that device. It's just amazing. I love it.
It is.
It's one of the best decisions I've done.
Yeah, it really is. The Gentle Max Pro is not in a league of its own, I would say, but it's really, really tried, tested, true, incredible levels of efficacy in treating all Fitzpatrick skin types.
So what's nice about it, it doesn't matter what skin type you are. You could be as white as the background wall, or you could be super, super dark. We can treat you because in that laser there's 2 wavelengths. They have the alexandrite and we have the Nd:YAG. Nd:YAG would be done on people with a darker skin type, and Alex on the lighter skin type. If I get back to facial hair, what bothers people, it's usually they can have ingrowns, they can have obviously shadow. And for people with a darker skin type, actually I was in Halifax and I was answering some question there, and she's a really darker skin type, and then she'd get brown spot from it, so that can
almost like folliculitis. Is essentially what that is. So
you see that underarm too.
Yes, of course.
So that can definitely help. So explain a little bit how a laser hair removal works, and I really want to take a few minutes to explain the difference between a true laser and an IPL. No offense to other, but it's just that the results are really, really different, and I get a lot of comment, well, I tried laser hair removal and it didn't work, and then when I start scratching, I'm like, oh, okay, we're using an IPL on a skin type 6. No wonder it wasn't working.
Right.
So explain a little bit that.
Sure. So with regards to your IPL, so typically, and then Madelaine knows this, your IPLs, even similar to Cineron's IPL, we used to have a DS, which basically was an IPL for hair removal. and it's what's called a broadband wavelength. Okay, so ours, our SRA, for example, goes from a 470 all the way up to a 980 nanometer wavelength, which essentially means that it's going to be absorbed by chromophores within that spectrum from 470 to 980. Okay, so you're going to get, you know, your vascularity in there, you're going to get some pigment in there, it's going to absorb the chromophore, you know, of melanin, the chromophore of hemoglobin or blood. But when it comes down to true laser, you're not getting a broadband spectrum. You are getting one specific wavelength, okay? And we have what's called, some people call it a bell curve or laser curve, and it basically breaks down where the wavelength is going to absorb that chromophore. So the 755 in that bell curve is heavily absorbed by the chromophore of melanin, okay? So as opposed to having a very large broadband of wavelength or large broadband of light, we're specifically targeting one chromophore, okay? Not to have that confused. The 755 will also absorb, you know, vasculature as well, but it's heavily absorbed by melanin. Okay, so the hair, typically what you want is to have a little bit of color within that hair shaft because that's what's going to absorb the wavelength, right? And when you were chatting a little bit about facial hair, we can have what's called non-terminal hairs on our face, okay? They can be, you know, vellus hairs or lanugo hairs and a little tiny peach fuzz on the side of the face. That doesn't have a chromophore. Okay, so, and again, Madelaine knows all of this stuff, but it's not going to absorb the laser energy because there's nothing to actually absorb it.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that situation, if you have dark facial hair, okay, like mine, of course you're going to absorb some of that chromophore because that's what the laser is going to be targeting. So you mentioned a little bit earlier about facial hair being pretty hormonal, and that is one thing for women. I've seen it out there that women can have what's called hirsutism, okay, or hypertrichosis, where unfortunately women can have almost a beard like mine, okay, and it's definitely something that's hard to manage. The insecurities are definitely there. Women end up having to shave their face like I do, and that's definitely not something that, you know, is a woman is going to want to do for the remainder of their adult life, right? So with the Gel Max Pro and being how good it is, because it does have a neodymium YAG as well as an alexandrite 755, so we can even treat perifolliculitis with, you know, African American skin types, and we're not at a huge risk of any type of PIH, okay? Because that's how safe it is, but that's how efficacious it is. With a hormonal imbalance causing facial hair, it's something where you have to be, you know, we tread very lightly when you have those conversations, but it's more of a maintenance program. So it doesn't mean that we are going to be completely removing the facial hair if it's because of hormonal imbalances. It's more of like a maintenance thing. Right. So the hair's still going to come in thinner. It's still going to come in finer, but it, you know, it will come back. But if you do, women can just have hair on the upper lip, hair on the sides of the face. Different ethnicities have, you know, different types of growth. So we can absolutely remove facial hair.
And if you're like, just like I said, like if you don't have a whole lot of hormonal, you're usually looking at 6-8 session facial.
Between six and eight.
Pushing, that'd be like pushing it. I like to say, hey, till you're satisfied when I do 6. But yeah, it's usually kind of the numbers we're looking at for facial hair. But then if you have that, like, you know, hormonal imbalance, then you're producing new hair. We can't prevent the future, so you need to come for maintenance like it all depends on the people, but usually like 6 months, a year, depending on, you know, as soon as you feel like it's growing back, you need to come. But it can get under control, and for those people,
of course.
So they're just there shaving, panicking, putting product, and then and then start scratching, and that brings a series of other concern. So yes, there's definitely treatment out there for your facial hair that can be done, and they're quite effective. But
very effective.
Really effective. But you need to do your research. You need to be like, it's not, all the lasers are not created equal. And
they're not.
I get that, well, I guess common all the time. And you need to realize that the price that you're paying for this really matters. Like, I mean, you get what you pay for, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can get like cheap devices. You can actually go on eBay and buy your own device. That's kind of scary, but you can.
Do your research.
Do your research.
Do your research.
Obviously, here we're only using true lasers, but I mean, if you're not in Moncton, do your research. What kind of devices they're using, their experience, because yes, it really matters.
It's very, very important.
Yeah.
It's your body.
So yeah, do your research before you're going into those.
Absolutely. Please do your research.
So I hope this helped a little bit understanding what facial hair, I mean, coming from, what they are, what can be, what you can do about it. I strongly suggest booking a consultation when you want to get more information about this, understand what's the best option for you. And if you have any more questions, please comment below, send us a Facebook email, call. We'll be more than happy to answer your question. So have a wonderful day.
Thank
Bye.
you.